Hey, and welcome back to the Soul Podcasting Podcast, where creatives, solopreneurs, and legacy-minded CEOs come to amplify their voice and deepen their impact. I'm Demetria Zinga, founder of the Soul Podcasting Collective, and whether you're mic savvy or mic curious, I've got you covered. Today, we're diving into something close to my heart, and that is the CEO approach to podcasting. Because your podcast is an asset, and even if you're just starting, you're already CEO of your message. So let's lean into how you can work smarter, show up deeper, and integrate your podcast into your business in intentional, soulful ways. Real quick, if you're dreaming of launching or relaunching, I want you to grab my Launch Confidently checklist. It's the exact roadmap that I share with clients to design episodes that convert, connect, and call people to action. So you can grab it at soulpodcasting.com/resources or find it in our show notes. All right, so this is your invitation, my friend, to slow down for just a minute. Let's mark this moment as creative CEO time. This is the part of your day where you set aside the stress, the distractions, and the mental tabs that you've been juggling. You've been doing so much, balancing the back end of your business, your family calendar maybe, your dreams, your doubts. So take a deep breath and really, right now, do that. Take a deep breath. Let the tension drop from your shoulders, unclench your jaw, and if you've got a warm drink, if it's cold outside, or a smoothie nearby, if it's hot outside, take a sip. Light a candle if that's your vibe. Wrap yourself in that favorite throw blanket if you're cold. And just know that this is your space to dream, to build, and to reimagine your podcast, not just as content, but as connection. Because this isn't just another task on your to-do list. It's your voice amplified. It's your message crafted and delivered with intention. It's your legacy in motion, even if you're brand new to podcasting or if you've been recording episodes for a while, but you're wondering what's next. This moment is for you. So settle in, open your heart. Let's have an honest, encouraging conversation about what it looks like to show up like a CEO behind the mic, soulfully, strategically, and sustainably. So let's unpack the 3 core shifts that helped me and my clients build podcasts that feel good on the inside and support real business growth. From the start, I designed episodes to hit core pillars that speak directly to my ideal listener. There's thought leadership, like that episode I did on redefining legacy back a couple of episodes ago, where I talked about how strategic insight meets soulful perspective. So thought leadership is one of my pillars. And then another one of my pillars is done for you services, where I talk about how my editing packages or my launch programs actually fit into a creative CEO's workflow. I also do client stories, where I interview someone who I've worked with, or I spotlight someone I've worked with who, for example, my client Tracy Kelly, who's scaling or beginning to scale her coaching business through a pivot that we designed with intentional branding. And then there's visibility and CEO mindset, episodes where we share about a mindset shift that we need to make before we get behind the mic. And each episode doubles as a bridge. It offers value and it shows the listener, hey, here's how I support clients ready for personalized help. So that kind of structure ensures that every episode that we create here at Soul Podcasting nurtures trust and invites my listener, hopefully deeper without feeling too salesy. That's what I'm encouraging you to do, is to find out what your pillar episode should be for your show and structure your show in a way that makes sense for the people that you want to serve. But having those pillar topics is going to help guide you like a North Star so that you know what you're talking about on each episode. Maybe some episodes you're sharing 1 or 2 of those pillars or focusing mainly on one, and then other episodes you're kind of rotating throughout your different pillars keywords so that you're hitting all of those topics. This is really going to help you get strategic and very, very honed down on your niche. So I know I talk about batching often, so let's make a little bit of shift this time. Instead of saying batching, we're going to talk about integration. So that's not more doing, but smarter weaving things together. Okay. So for each core pillar episode, I'm going to pull out one micro tip that becomes either a short Instagram reel. And this is what I do almost every single episode. And I'll be honest with you, it's a lot of work, but it's worth it. And we've found ways in our agency to make things run a little faster. The more we do things, the more adept we get, the quicker we get, and the more streamlined we are. So we like the Instagram reel, which also becomes a story. We like our LinkedIn insight post, and we like a snippet in our newsletter. And then of course, this is going to YouTube. So that's one extra place for it to be. And in the future, we're thinking of how we might integrate TikTok. At the moment, we have not. But these are the things that we are doing for our own content integration. So it's content that syncs up and not splits in different ways. Content that both serves and funnels. So one episode can become multiple points of entry into our world without doing more recording. And that is kind of the mindset that we want to have, that we encourage you as a podcaster to do as well, just to make sure that you're not spending your energy in all different ways. We want to be strategic. So my next shift for you, this is shift number 3. It's amplifying depth with sound and vision and strategy. So this is a deep one. And I don't just speak into a microphone. I'm speaking within intention, anchored in my brand. What is my brand about? So a couple of years ago, I interviewed someone about career transitions for creative CEOs. I opened with a raw moment of my own, and then my own brain hesitation before the pivot. So that vulnerability really connected with dozens of people who also messaged me too. Thank you for that interview. I feel the same. And then I layered it with strategy, which shows positioning and leveraging. I tried to do this in LinkedIn. And then I layered it with sound. I chose another theme music, maybe a bit longer. And you guys have probably noticed that I love using music in my episodes, but I like to do that to help wind you down into reflection or just even in an intro to make things really exciting. But I feel like an episode can be transformed from just nice and just average to having a lasting effect if you're really working those different layers of your sound, your vision, and your strategy together. I think that's what CEO level depth looks like. It's message with a mood and then with an alignment of this all working together to create what you want to bring to the table, which is to not only bring your message, but bring it in a way that draws your listener into your world and allows them to really appreciate what you're offering. And they want to come back and listen again and again and again because what you're offering is so valuable, but you didn't present it in a way that is damaging to your brand. So I like to think of presentation as being everything. To me, it's synonymous to, do I want to present a big, beautiful piece of steak, a filet mignon, on a garbage lid, or do I want to present it on a beautiful gold-tipped plate, and a fancy place setting? How do I want to present this food, right? You want to present it in a way that people want to receive it. So I'd rather spend a little bit more time on the editing and the polishing and the thinking through the process than to just throw something out there. And to me, that's what works. When my life was much more complicated and I had a lot more on my mind in terms of being busy, homeschooling mama, and I had my early 30s, mid 30s mama brain, and I really just was not in a place where mentally I could care about how I presented my episodes. Those were the days where it was okay for me to just throw something up there just to have my audience listen, because I knew that what I was presenting was useful and helpful and desired by my audience. They didn't care that I didn't show up polished and perfect. In fact, that's not what I'm asking you to do. So show up the best you can. But what I'm saying is that when you're in a position where you can give more, share more, make it palatable to the type of audience you want to invite to listen in on your shows, if that means shifting some things around, changing up some things, sprucing things up a bit, I definitely think that can have a part in enhancing your online presence in a positive way. And I don't think you have to be perfect and I don't think you have to be polished, but I do think it matters how you show up in the long run. And so if you have episodes that you're looking back on 5 years ago that you wish you had spruced up or had made a little differently, or you had a lot of edits and cuts that you wish weren't there, or you just, you forgot to edit out that sneeze, it's all about really the organic approach of we are okay with you showing your humanity. We're okay with that. We are very forgiving. That is what we are as podcasters and as listeners to podcasts. We are forgiving, but I do think making that impression can make a huge, huge difference. When you have the ability to upgrade, by all means, upgrade and make it even better, make your show better with each year that you're podcasting. Do what you can to upgrade your audio and your videos. So that's my personal take on amplifying your sound and your vision. So now we're just going to get quickly into some podcasting in the news. I mentioned a few episodes ago that we're going to start adding some new segments to our show. And so I have a quick industry check-in for you, and it is Edison Research's Q4 2023 audio share report. Okay, so this is a few years ago, but these stats still remain and are important. And it shows that most podcast consumption now happens at home and not in the car. Can you believe it? Only 11% happens during commute, according to this particular piece of research, which I will link to in show notes. And that means that listeners are often relaxed, in-depth listening zones. They're not rushed. They're not distracted commuters. Now, I know that I happen to listen to podcasts while I'm doing the dishes, while I'm doing the laundry. That is my favorite time to listen in while I'm doing housekeeping or if I'm working in my yard. I don't usually listen while I'm taking a walk, to be honest. So I find it really interesting, though, that this is a shift that has happened recently. So that means that listeners are often relaxed. And if your episodes feel like conversations happening in your living room, then you're speaking directly into your audience's listening space. And the insight I get from this is that you should probably focus on designing episodes for that environment, right? Still think about the fact that your listener could very well be taking you from home to their car as they're driving somewhere. That's very much a possibility, but just think about them as though they're at home and open with clarity. Teach in a couple of minutes, a couple of 5 to 7 minute segments, however many segments you have, and then close with reflection so people can pause and process and then return later. In fact, a lot of times they might actually have a notebook and a pen handy, so you can ask them to go ahead and take some notes or just really reflect on what you're talking about. And that's how you honor the mood of at-home listening, now that we know that more and more people are starting to listen from home. So tell me, which CEO level shift are you going to try this week for your podcast? Would it be mapping your pillar episodes so that they align with your services, what you offer? Or are you going to turn one episode into social content or solo content, maybe a newsletter? How will you repurpose your content this week if that is what you choose to do? Or would you think of deepening your message with a bit more personal context, add some soundscapes, bring some more clarity to your audios and your video? If you're ready to step further, my audio and video editing packages are designed for busy CEOs like yourself who want clean, soulful listening episodes without all the DIY overwhelm. So we edit, we optimize, we promote. You can keep showing up in your zone and we can do that part of it for you so that you don't have to. So if you need launch support or strategic coaching, we've also got that too. So visit soulpodcasting.com/services to see options and schedule a discovery call with us. Also, I'd love to celebrate your next CEO move. So screenshot this episode, tag me at Soul Podcasting on Instagram, and let's grow together. Your voice is your platform. Your soul is your strategy, and you're already CEO of the story. Okay. So I'm so happy that you listened all the way through this episode, and I can't wait to talk to you again, and I'll see you next time. Happy podcasting.